four traditions that I'm going to describe were delineated by Susan Wisely, who directed evaluation for the Lilly Endowment for many fruitful years, and me in the late 90s and 2000. So the first of the traditions we talk about really is the oldest tradition of giving. It's the tradition of charity or relief, and it arises out of compassion for the suffering of others. It's immediate and responsive. It's Jesus saying in Matthew, I have compassion for the crowd. People are hungry and we need to feed them. And he multiplies the fishes and the loaves. He feeds them a fish for the day, right? I mean, in its own right, this is a tremendously important way of giving. And yet in American philanthropy and elsewhere, people have looked at that and said, well, what if you teach somebody to fish? Then they can feed themselves for a lifetime. And this gave rise to really what we call the second tradition, which is improvement. And it focuses on helping individuals gain skills and move forward in their own lives. This is a dominant tradition in a lot of philanthropy in American communities. It's the setting up of schools and education funds and colleges and seminaries. And it often comes out of what we were given. We want to give to somebody else, but it really focuses on individuals and helping them move forward. The third tradition asks, well, if somebody has been taught to fish, but they don't have access to the pond because they are part of an entire group of people who have been excluded from that pond, how do we change that? And so this is really the tradition of social reform, and it thinks about access, equity, justice, and has been an incredibly important, passionate focus of many foundations for a long time, as well as for many community groups. And I would think if we talk about it, many Black religious organizations, obviously. And yet what Susan Wisely and I were seeing was that within the tradition of reform, sometimes there was kind of a top down, we're going to tell you what you need attitude. And it raises the question in trying to help people, if you ever ask them, do they eat fish? Do they fish themselves? I mean, what is their understanding, their hope, their desire, their capacity to contribute? And we called this an emerging tradition of engagement or civic engagement. And we were writing this originally in the late 90s. I think this tradition has fully formed in many ways in the conversations around giving. We talk about really wanting equal partnerships and bringing people to the table. I think it's always a question, are we really meeting the standards that we set for ourselves? Are we really engaging one another? So I think that all of these traditions in a full human society, you need them all alive, right? We don't want immediate suffering. We want individuals to maximize their potential and grow. We want equity, access, and justice. And we want full engagement and relationship and a coming together and an empowerment of people in their own lives.